Hello, my name's Paul Simon. I'm the Head of Public Affairs at Suffolk Chamber of Commerce, and this is the second in our series of interviews with patrons of the Chamber, just to get a little bit more detail about what they do and how they do it and why it's important. And it gives me great pleasure to be with Professor Gurpreet Jagpal, known universally as Gups, from the University of Suffolk. And you are the Pro Vice-Chancellor, Business and Enterprise. Excellent, well, welcome.
Thank you.
Can you give us an idea of, in your mind, what is the right relationship between a business community and a university?
I mean, it's a great question. Businesses play a really important part in education, and I think that's all the way through from primary into secondary into further and right the way into the space that I'm in, which is higher education. And that's through a number of facets. We need to ensure that everything we are delivering curriculum-wise is what the business community needs and what the business community wants, not just now, but then also in the future. So that regular dialogue and regular engagement with business is absolutely critical to ensure that we've got the right degree programs that are preparing people ready for the world of work and for opportunities that the business community have got. And there is an absolute integral piece of work there ensuring that there's alignment between the needs of business and what we provide as an educational establishment.
Let's go back a stage, because that seems to me something more than the responsibility of one particular school or one particular department. So how have you formatted or reformatted that kind of systemic sense of wanting to reach out to the business community, work with the business community through everything that the university does?
So my role was the first role that was created around that kind of Pro Vice-Chancellor to specifically look after and be the executive lead for our external engagement. And really looking at how do we position ourselves as an institution to be able to interact and engage with business and bring that business voice into everything that we do as an institution. And that's around teaching and learning, it's around research, and it's around our knowledge exchange agenda. So what I've done deliberately within my team is create a number of appointments, a number of roles that are very business development focused. So as an institution, we've prioritised key areas such as digital, sustainability, health and well-being, history, heritage, crime, social justice. And what we've done is put in specific business development expertise around those areas to link our academics, our students and our alumni with businesses in that sector. And that is working really well for us. Our business development managers are getting out there, they're talking to the business community, and they're bringing that intelligence back into the institution. And that feeds, as I've said, everything from our degree programs, but then also looking at ways, how do we connect our academic expertise with the needs of the business? So there's things like short courses, executive education, CPD, knowledge transfer partnerships, and all of these are kind of interventions that our academics are delivering, working with business. So it's trying to really raise awareness that a higher education institution like the University of Suffolk is here not only to kind of educate, but then also educate young people and students, but also that it can provide a huge amount of value by working in partnership with business to solve real challenges that we're facing.
And how easy has that restructuring, reformatting, that sort of reorientation in effect of how a university sees itself and the porosity of the relationships between businesses and the university itself, because you're a new university or a newish university? Could this be happening elsewhere as quickly and as effectively as you seem to be articulating?
I think it's possible. It does, however, need that external business engagement for it to be fruitful and for us to be able to kind of benefit from that, not just as a university, but also as a region. And that was one of the things that really impressed me when I moved across to Suffolk, now coming up to 3 years ago, was just the level of willingness of our business community in wanting to engage with the university. And not just wanting to engage with the university, but also critically wanting the university to be a success. And I think that has helped us massively in terms of the growth that we've been on as an institution. And it's certainly helped my business development team in terms of the relationships that they've managed to build with that business community, because we are pushing at an open door with a group of businesses that clearly want to work with us and can see the benefits of working with us. And we've really capitalised on that as an institution. The team have really capitalised on that. And we've also set up things like our Innovation and Engagement Advisory Board, which has local business representation. It has the business development team around there, it has our careers team sitting around the table, and we're having some really interesting conversations around the breadth and depth of support that we can provide one another to ensure that as a region, Suffolk benefits from the University of Suffolk having such a prominent role in the region.
And you're very much involved in some of the key education initiatives coming out of Westminster, not least the local skills improvement plan, which of course for Suffolk and Norfolk is a venture led by both Chambers of Commerce. How have you found that process, and what does it tell you about perhaps how much more we as a business ecosystem need to do to collaborate with the education ecosystem?
I think one of the things that the LSIPs really highlighted for me and the conversations that I have been involved in is just the level of opportunity that's available across the Suffolk and Norfolk regions. And what's become quite clear in those conversations that we've been having as part of the board is that no one party can do this in isolation. And it reinforces my earlier point about this. This is very much about education and business working much more closely together in ensuring that we're equipping young people with the skills they need for the future, and for a future that is somewhat uncertain, but also equally, if we look at our region, a future here that has got huge possibilities. We've got some really big national leading infrastructure projects across our region, and it's ensuring that collectively we're sitting around that table and ensuring that we are capitalising on all of that and providing jobs and opportunities for young people in our region.
But there also, aren't there, an enormous list of infrastructure and other asks that we continue to chip away at government and other agencies to give us funding. And I mean, that's everything from improved East-West rail links, the A14 itself, 5G infrastructure, alternative fuel infrastructure. Taking a step back, what is the role of the university as part of, if you like, of that leadership team within the Suffolk system to advocate more broadly for Suffolk?
A massive role. I mean, because yes, we're an education provider in the region, but we're also a massive employer in the region, and we do have a very prominent civic mission to be playing. And as we look at the growth trajectory for the University of Suffolk and our ambitions as we go towards 2030 to have 10,000 students in Ipswich on our Ipswich campus, all of those things you've mentioned, the rail connections, the retail in town, and the hospitality, etc. These are going to be the things that attract a demographic into Ipswich. So that Ipswich becomes a destination for young people to come and study. And actually, what I'm really passionate about is I want them to come and study, and then I want them to stay.
How many are based on your current data?
Most of our students on current data are local students that live locally and are commuting into the university on a daily basis. So it's a bit of a shift in our model in terms of, yes, we absolutely have that civic local mission and working with young people locally and training and educating young people locally, absolutely. And then also looking at how do we bring in new talent into the region, because we as a region will need that in order to be able to benefit from the opportunities that are coming our way.
And certainly Suffolk has struggled historically in terms of retaining talent, particularly amongst certain demographic and age groups, and that's amen to that in terms of the business community. Looking at the international situation, because of course education is increasingly globalised, I've been quite impressed by the very consistent successes of the university in terms of partnering up with third-party institutions, both in this country and abroad. Can you tell us a little bit more about how you hope those will continue to roll out and the potential benefits to Suffolk more broadly from those kind of international alliances?
Yeah, so we have a number of partnerships across the UK, and that is kind of delivering our education offer in other areas. The key area for me that I'm again really focused on is around that kind of international inward recruitment, and that's students globally coming into Ipswich and studying on the Ipswich campus, and then hopefully going on to secure employment. So this year we've seen significant growth in our international numbers, and next year the forecast is for that to grow even further, which is great. And I think for the region that's again a huge opportunity, and particularly in terms of bringing quite a diverse skill set, a diverse experience, and a quite culturally rich experience into the region. But that's not without its challenges. There is a huge amount for us to do as an institution in ensuring that we are international in our outlook, ensuring that our staff, home students, are internationally aware, but then also making sure that our international students are given an amazing experience when they do arrive. And that also then presents some interesting challenges for us again as a region and for our business community in terms of embracing those international students and looking at ways that we integrate them into the Suffolk community. And it's really pleasing the feedback that we are getting from our international students to say that they actually not only has the university made them feel welcome, but actually they've had some really positive interactions with the wider Suffolk community. And I think as our numbers begin to grow, what I'm conscious of is us being able to kind of maintain and grow that level of engagement and integration as we get bigger with our international numbers.
And that's really encouraging, and that's sort of quite a catalytic change, isn't it, in terms of ensuring that Suffolk is open for business, not just in terms of rhetoric, but actually in terms of providing the right kind of welcomes, the right kind of business opportunities for talent, whether coming from other parts of the UK or beyond. So the final question, Gups, in a way, is, you've achieved a lot, the university's achieved a lot, the relationships between the university and the business community are deep and broad and successful through a whole series of initiatives. You have a growing imprint nationally and internationally. What one variable, either within the higher education ecosystem or more broadly within sort of the policy framework within which you and the business community operates, would you want to change to accelerate that kind of process and delivering that kind of vision?
That's a cracking question. It's going to be difficult to kind of, it's going to be difficult to try and identify one. I think the level of kind of political volatility that we've got going on at the moment is hindering somewhat the pace at which we can move.
Okay.
We've got local elections coming up, a general election in 2024, and all of that noise, I think, is interesting, but also challenging. And I think linked to that, if I look at our work around kind of the research and the knowledge exchange piece, there is a whole piece around kind of innovation policy in particular, and what is it that we as a nation are kind of throwing our weight behind. And then for me, it's then what does that look like in this part of the world, over in the east of England, and what does that mean for us? What are we championing, and what are our kind of innovation priorities, and how can the university align its areas of research and KE to be able to kind of work with that? So if I say one, I mean I've said many things there, but I think it's that cheeky. It's under that broad brush around kind of political instability.
Excellent. Thank you very much indeed, Gus.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.